All right, everybody. Look at these two smiling faces on here with me today. This is this is going to be an awesome show. Everybody that's watching, you probably already know who these two people are, but we thank you for watching the Fence Podcast tonight. Sasha is actually out racing, believe it or not. I don't know if you're following you guys, but he's got his race team, and he's actually out in the desert somewhere racing one of his cars. So good luck to you out there, Sasha, and wish you were here with us. But today we've got Mark stepping in from JC Gurry
Hey,
and our special guest Sam Natello. Everybody say hi.
Hi guys.
Hey,
hey.
Sam, I'm fortunate enough where I get to talk to you, probably a lot more than I talk to a lot of people, and we just have nothing but great conversations every time. It's almost like we pick up right where it could have been, months in between. We pick up right where we dropped off, and as if we're continuing a conversation from an hour earlier. So
I think well, I see your social posts. You're very active. I'm pretty active, so I think we kind of feel like we're talking to each other anyway throughout. I know exactly what the heck's going on over there. You guys do a great job with all that.
We have a few posts in there too.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a pretty active group right here.
Yeah, Mark. If anytime you see something came from JC Gurry, you might as well change that to say Mark Cobb, because he sits there all day and all night. I don't even know where he gets the time to do this, but and he's been doing some new videos and stuff going out, which is kind of funny. But for everybody that doesn't know you, Sam, they probably do if they're watching. But let's say a little bit about you.com, how you got into the fence industry, because you weren't always in the fence industry.
Right, true. Yeah. I guess a super quick introduction is that I own a website design and digital marketing agency that serves strictly the fence industry. That's the only industry we serve. It's about 10 years now. There are roughly 50 of us. Can you imagine 50 full-time people? Content writers, coders, graphic design, SEO strategy, all that stuff, paid ads. So yeah, 50 people, full-time, fence, 10 years. I've been doing this total 31 years though, but yeah, the last decade has been the best decade. It's been fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. 50 though. That's insane. I mean, I just have my wife to run, and I have a hard time with that. So I can't imagine having 50 people.
It's a different kind of operation for sure. I know there's probably plenty of folks that are listening to this podcast here that may have larger teams than that. But this is it's about all I'm able to manage at this point, which is why it's where it is. No, it's been great. I've got great people around me. It really comes down to the quality of the people that you have is how easy or how difficult it's going to be to manage it.
So do you think you have 50 people because you have that many different things you're doing? I mean, there's a lot. You're not just building a website. You're talking about marketing, AdWords, all this, whatever you're doing for everybody. Explain to everybody why you would need 50 people besides just the number of it. I mean, does it take different skill sets to do these different things they're doing?
Very different skill sets, and because of the quantity of fence companies that we work with, you have to have multiple people in any given seat, right? So we have multiple web designers, web developers, right? You need coders, you need content writers, you need paid ads managers, you need client managers. Of course, we have to keep communication open. You need strategy, you need SEO, right? So there's all these different. Now we have two full-time AI optimization specialists. And that is all they do is AI. Now that's on top of the SEO people who had to, relearn what it means to rank for AI. And we have a lot of people around here. In fact, most of the team cares a whole lot about AI, but we have two people that their only job is AI related. There's a lot of different skills going on. It takes.
When you say two people, are these two agents or are the actual people?
No. These are humans. These are humans. I don't even know how many agents we have running. That's a whole other. I should probably get a count of that. I don't know.
Hey, so I did want to ask you, because I mean, this pops up a lot. I mean, one thing you're known for besides .com and all this is Google hates you. Google hates you and your website sucks. And that just kind of sticks in everybody. In fact, everybody makes little jokes about it, like this guy hates you and this one sucks. I mean, we make little jokes like we turn that into other things, right? Can almost make a bunch of T-shirts about that. How did you? Tell us more about that before we scare everybody here from our subject titles and everybody into thinking that Google's out to get them. Tell everybody what you mean by that.
Well, what happened was, where it came from was that I'm an educator by nature. I like to help people and teach people and train people. I was actually a high school math and computer teacher before I moved into this, so I love teaching. And so as I started to work with some of the fence guys, I would do what anybody else does. I'll be like, your website could be better. You could rank better. And I guess I was too soft. They just weren't hearing me, right? Because really what I meant was, dude, your website sucks. It really does. But in a way that, like, I care. Like, please pay attention to this. You need to pay attention to this. And eventually one day I just woke up and just honest to God, just out of care, I was like, I have to state this more plainly. I have to make these people come, make a decision. Like, wow, does it suck or does it not? And at least get deliberate about making that choice. So that's all that this was designed to be. And then, of course, well, why does it suck? And how do we get it to not suck? Where do we go to suck less is how I usually say that.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever noticed you, Sam, was you had the T-shirts at the first Fence show, and it said your website sucks. And I'm going like, well, who is that guy, right?
This industry, hardworking, plain-spoken, good-natured people. The vast majority of the industry understands the spirit with which this has been said, but I have to be honest. There's a few select folks that I think it just didn't quite land with, and I'm sorry for that. But it forced people to face the situation, and that's what I wanted to do.
Oh, so I brought up a sore subject, huh? But no, it's not. I mean, you coined that phrase, right? I mean, pretty much. So obviously Google doesn't hate them. It's just the algorithms change, things happen, and and obviously your websites go up and down, and sometimes it goes up and down just based off of changes in the algorithm, or maybe something, there's more traffic getting drawn to yours, and they see people staying on your websites longer, and you can have a website built. You could build it yourself, and if you draw enough traffic to it, then you start getting ranking. I mean, your website starts doing better just from the traffic, right? But you guys target that early on. So instead of just happen to get lucky and have some content that grabbed people, you guys actually go in and figure out what actually brought them there, right? So you can keep working on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have dedicated a big team of folks for 10 years. This is all we do. We study these things inside out and backwards. You would not believe how closely and how deeply we look at things. And we're humans. We're not plugged into, Google doesn't answer to us. We don't have AI brains or whatever, but we care, we focus, we pay attention, and we learn like anybody else does. And the learning is constant. I mean, we're in an age right now, there's a whole new set of rules. Doesn't scare me because there was a whole new set of rules. I was doing this before Google was around, right? Yeah. Like I remember the first time somebody came to me and said, how do I rank on Yahoo, or whatever. Yeah. And then Google came around, then Facebook came around. Like, there's always been new things. This AI is the next new thing, but we've navigated this before. We'll navigate it again, but you have to learn. You have to keep your eyes and ears open and be willing to embrace the change and not only embrace it, be excited about it. I'm so excited about what's happening in the world right now with this.
Yeah. I remember my first sites I was building was Front Page. I don't know if you remember that. Sure. And then you would actually have to, you'd build it all, then you have to actually upload the entire code in there into like a server or something. And I've been so long ago, it's hard to remember, but I would build all my sites on Microsoft Front Page. And I remember it was all word stuffing back then, man. It was all white print sometimes with white back. I mean, obviously you can't do it all now. Do you remember that? And you just shove so much content onto a page. And but like you said, there really wasn't much out there safeguarding against that. It was, I mean, Google was fairly new and things like that. So do you think here's a question I always ask you guys too, I'm curious about. Do you think Google's, I mean, people love to say that. They're like, well, these algorithms are changing and we don't know what they are. We're trying to figure them out. So it's almost like that becomes like an excuse on why something's like, it's like, you know what I mean? We don't know what that is. We don't know what the algorithms are. It's like, do they really hold that so tight and secretly that everybody building websites don't actually understand or know what Google wants?
I think that there's a couple ways to answer that. You should understand what the principles are, right? Yeah. The core principle is has really not changed very much. Google is looking for high quality, useful content that is going to serve the people that are searching Google, and right, that's what they want. So if you aren't playing the edges and you're doing the quote unquote right thing, which is always focus on quality, always bring value, bring your expertise, experience, authority, and into the content that you produce and publish online, then you're going to be fine. The specifics of the algorithm changes, it matters, but as long as you understand the principles, you're never going to stray too far from where the algorithm's taking you.
Okay. So it is kind of their own secret algorithm, but for the most part, we're all just quality content. If somebody's searching for window seals around my house in California, they want to make sure they send somebody to a page where they sell or has enough information on window seals in California and original refreshed content, so it doesn't look like it's outdated from 1985, right?
So, yes, absolutely, until now. Okay. Now it has changed. The emergence of AI has absolutely flipped it all upside down. So the principle is the same, but the way that you deliver it, and you went directly to content on the page.
Yep.
And that is exactly what has changed so much, is that any one of the three of us, by the time we get off this podcast, can publish 1,000 blog articles during this time, because we could just have AI rip out a bunch of stuff. So Google has completely devalued this. I just saw something actually just this very morning, because of course I follow the folks that I follow in the industry, and 85% of all blog articles that were already indexed. Keep in mind that there's a whole bunch that Google never bothered to index in the first place. But 85% of all the blog articles that were indexed have been de-indexed this calendar year. So Google is just there's a concept that, like, man, just get AI and, give it some prompts and publish and do all that. Absolutely worthless. So what they want is they want to actually decentralize the information off of your site. They certainly want, the site is still the basis, but it's now, what's everybody else saying? Are you represented on the Better Business Bureau, your local chamber of commerce, the FWA? Do you have listings there? Which, by the way, I don't know how you handle that. That might be a conversation to have. The AFA, or if you're a member of Mr. Fence Academy, are you listed over there? Are you, like, all those kinds of things? But then there's also all the other, there's other fence industry authority sites. And so it's, what is the industry authoritative sites, business sites? How are your rankings, your ratings on Google and Yelp? And, like, nobody cared about Yelp a year ago. Yelp's back again all of a sudden, right? So, like, they're decentralizing the information, and now it's more about what's going on around you.
So it has changed. I mean, do you see that now, obviously, with AI and everything that's out there, and the websites that you can build now are completely different than we could build 10 years ago. So do you see that these pages are going to be completely, like, dynamic, where they're like shells, and it's just going to, it'll almost, like, the website will change and write itself based off of who's looking at it? So if I went to your website at some point, it would look different than if Mark went to your website, because of the keywords he used when he typed into the search engine. It kind of helped him rewrite your page in a way. So you think they'll just be like dynamic pages that fill in based off of what you're looking for? So if you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bill at JC Gurry, the site itself would be more heavily focused on paying your bill. Or if you're looking for a quote, it'd be more heavy on getting a quote, things like that.
I think again, two answers. Over the next 18 months, I believe that's exactly what you're going to be looking at. No question about it. And we're not alone, but we're already able to do a fair amount of that stuff now. So, for example, if you did a search for having to do with pool fence or something like that, when you come to the site, that hero image is going to be a pool fence, and it's going to, and so you're going to start to be able to customize more and more. The real trick is, can we reach back into search history not related, like, prior to this, and see what your search behavior was or your Facebook behavior was, and pull that into the site? That's a little bit different question. But Ultimately, here's where I believe this is going. I don't know if you've heard this before, but this is a Sam belief. I don't know that this is necessarily an industry belief. I believe the website is ultimately going to be diminished to the point where it becomes 2 layers. It is strictly a knowledge layer. It's just the knowledge, the business knowledge of how you handle your pricing theory and the types of services you offer and that kind of thing. And so, and then the second one will be the action layer. Can you book an appointment online? Can you get an instant estimate online? Can you design your fence online? Can you do that? And the reason is not that humans are going to do it. It's going to be agent to agent, right? 18 months from now, 24 months for sure, but 18 months from now, all 3 of us and just about everybody listening to this podcast are going to be used to having an agent. It's just going to be a matter of fact that you have an agent and your agent is going to be tasked with something. You're going to tell the agent, hey, I'm interested in a fence. And the agent's going to be like, do you want me to get you a price? Do you want me to set up an appointment? Do you want me to do this thing? And you're going to say, yeah, do that. And the agent is going to go out and complete those actions. That's its mission. So if you don't have that ability to provide that functionality, that agent's going to go somewhere else where it can fulfill its mission, right? So ultimately, the website is going to be nothing more than a knowledge layer and an action layer. That is all it is. That's where that's heading.
I agree 100%. In fact, we're already trying to similar using something for that testing out. But so I agree. I won't even be asking Sam Natello. I'll be talking to my agent. My agent will I'll say, I need you to, hey, did you, I'll just ask my agent, hey, find out if Sam Natello's contract signed for the Fence Show. So what'll happen eventually is my agent will go out and it will reach out to other agents within the network, see if nobody has, it'll reach out, but after a while it'll learn which one of the agents for what people that work in our network would have that information. And then if that person doesn't, it will reach to the next agent and eventually possibly even go reach out to yours and say, hey, we don't have a copy of your contract on file to your agent. Your agent will say, oh, you've already released it. It'll release that back to us. The next thing you know, I get a message that says popped up, Sam didn't actually have his contract signed, but we went ahead and got his copy from him. And I believe all that's going to happen without even any communication besides me talking to one agent, talk to 16 other agents.
Well, and that's assuming that you even bothered to ask the question because your agent will probably
already have done it.
Be programmed to know that, as of some certain date, everybody's supposed to have this in. So you didn't know you were looking for it. I didn't know you were looking for it, but it ended up getting it anyway. So
and that's even the next step. So I think we're both thinking the same thing. That's, I believe on the websites that the days of just building landing pages after landing pages after landing pages is going to fade away. You won't need a 500-page deep site anymore. AI, I think, helped us a lot, and it helped us go out and say, hey, I want you to create 500 landing pages now, which used to take us, hours and hours and hours per page to build one, right? Now it's just building in 1 hour 800 landing pages for us. So, but if everybody's doing that, then you've now might as well just all of you have one website page, right? So
if everybody can do it easily, then it has no value.
Yeah. So I agree. I think it's going to go to where you've got one page, which is your main one. And then you've got I love that you said the knowledge page and then also your action page, but the action page I think is going to change based off what you were looking for because the search engines will get smarter and it'll just go to your website and we'll have all this keywords hidden in our agents and stuff. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I got to be honest. I love it. We've talked about this. I love it, man. I can't wait, especially wait till these supercomputers come out because our agents will be the only ones that can communicate with the supercomputers. We can't. So these agents will just they're the only ones that'll want to say dumb enough to talk to us. So we'll be communicating because we won't be able to run a supercomputer. We'll need an agent to go talk to it for us, right?
So we'll all still be alive for the next 5 years. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I'm excited.
Who knows what happens? we may not need fences in 5 years because we may not be around.
That rabbit hole right there. Susan will be in the background going like this, but she's off today, so I'm going to ramble on, Susan. I'm going to ramble on. So let's get back to you, though, Sam.
Yep.
So anyway, I know you're obviously heavily invested into the fence industry now. Tell me about your average clients before the fence industry. I mean, did those clients help you be better at what you're doing now in the fence industry?
Oh yeah. So .com has gone through. We're kind of what I would consider in our third generation, and they break down almost by decade. the first 10 years, a lot of folks may not know, may be surprised to hear, we worked with Nike, Disney, Johnson and Johnson, Purina, Girl Scouts of America. I know Dell Computers. Amazing brands, right? So the education that I got working with those folks, I particularly point to Nike and Disney because they're the greatest marketing companies on the planet. They happen to, sell shoes or sell, movies but they're the greatest marketing companies on the planet. So I had the great opportunity to work for years right alongside of incredible marketing minds. And yeah, I think that absolutely helped move me forward personally. And then as the leader of my agency, hopefully that helped there. And then the second 10 years, then we worked with a huge diversity of companies across the country. We must have worked with, I don't know. I think at one time I counted, it was over 200 different industries. And that was useful because I got a way better understanding of just business. How is business run? Active Yards, Barrett at the time, of course, all this has turned over and changed. But because of our background working with the Nikes and Disneys, they brought us in to work with them and do what we did with them. And then I learned that, the other side of the business, like, cause I was all corporate, right? It was Barrett, it was Active Yards, all. But then I meet the fence guys and the guys that are putting posts in the dirt, man. I was like, these are my people. This is it right here. So I've never been happier. This is exactly where I belong. These are the dudes that I played football with and wrestled with. And, I'm one of those dudes.
So Sam,
that's awesome.
How do you, if you're in the fence industry only with SEO, with SEO and everything else, what happens when you get two fence companies that have areas that overlap?
Yeah, when we had this idea when we first started that we were going to have exclusive areas. We work with one company in one area, and I mean that feels good to me. That's what I want to do. It didn't take very long though before we helped the companies become successful enough where they spilled over into a new market. They opened up a second office, and next thing you know, another client opens up in that same market, and now I've got two existing customers that now end up in the same place, right? And then you've got private equity money came in and ended up buying up, some of the folks that we were working with, and it just, there is no way to keep those lines straight anymore. So what we had to change to was we don't work exclusively, but we work respectfully. So what we do is it's twofold. One, within any large metro area, any large service area, we take population, and we will work with no more, in fact, much less than one fence company per million homeowners. That is way more than enough to be able to get business to a fence company. So in like a metro Atlanta, where there's over 8 million people in that area, in theory, that means we could work with 8 companies. We capped it at 5. And so that, we keep it small, and that's all around. Number 2 is that everyone that we do work with, we give them a list. They're allowed to sign up to 2 companies that for whatever reason, they're like, look, you just can't work with these guys. Please, this is my main competitor. I trust you to work with us. So we give them a chance to kind of flag 2 companies. And so I think that that's a very respectful way to handle those situations.
It's hard. I mean, we wouldn't want our suppliers doing that. So we wouldn't want our suppliers saying, hey, you can only, and you became a supplier in the industry in a way when it comes to this, someone that's service side of it. So yeah, we would want our suppliers saying, hey, you know what, we can't sell to you because we've already sold to a fence company in that area. One of the suppliers that has the best deals, right? So I think it'd be tough too, even on your side. I mean, you still need to grow as a business and get customers. So I don't think that I don't think working with multiple companies in a city is, as long as you're ethically not sharing leads and contact information with somebody, right?
Now, I'll tell you the one situation that actually is a benefit. So, there are some areas, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Columbus. There's some areas around the country that just seem to be hotbeds for our services. But the thing that works out really well is when we handle the paid ad side of things for multiple companies in the same market. That's actually a better scenario because these guys are going to run paid ads, right? They're gonna pay budget. And if they end up bidding against each other because they're unaware, they don't know what hours you're running the ads, what keywords you're focusing on, what your targets are. They don't know your settings. So we do, right? There is tons of search traffic where ads can be served up. We can shuffle around so that nobody has to compete head to head with each other any more than is absolutely necessary. Same time, same day, same keywords. We can shuffle around, and then we don't drive everybody's prices up. So it's actually better to have like that referee a little bit that knows how to help you guys not overpay and bid it up.
So Sam, I saw an old ad a long time ago that said Reebok sucks and your socks, Reebok hates you and your socks suck or something like that. So was that possibly while you were working at Nike? Is that?
No, that was definitely not the kind of vibe that Nike would let me get away with. No.
So big question though. So if when you go to, I mean, obviously you visit a lot of websites, you visit a lot of competitors, fence companies, and you can't help people unless you're seeing what the, in your industry, what everybody else is doing. So even if you're not doing it for your own, your own like research and recon, if you happen to land on a fence company, what's the first thing you notice or see when you go and land on a fresh site web? Say you just curiosity, you're on a Facebook post and you see XYZ fence company and you click the link and you go over there and you no intention at all of going there for any reason. What was the first thing you notice and see?
All right, we're talking visually.
You would notice if you went there, not with intent to see what they're doing wrong or right, or what's the thing that your brain is like we're wired to see certain things on fences, whether the gate hinges are crooked, whether we can't help it, right?
Yeah.
So what is your brain wired to see when you go to a website?
Well, we see design immediately, right? And because I'm trained, I immediately can tell. I mean, it takes a millisecond to see, is this just professionally designed and clean, or is it not? You can't even help that. I don't know that everybody has that eye all the time, but I do, and my team does. But once we get past that, do I understand exactly who you are, what you do, and where you do it before I blink once, right? And that mistake is made so much. It's crazy how often you can go to a site and they literally do not tell you where they are, or they get very, very cute. This is the one that hurts me because they clearly are thinking the right way. They just execute it wrong, where it'll be like, making your backyard dreams come true. Right.
I'll tell you what that is.
And it was like, well, and you're doing that how? And so you just have to be clear with your message. Yeah. Dude, I'm a fence company in Tulsa, Oklahoma, specializing in residential and light commercial fence, whatever. Right. Yeah. Like you have to say it plainly. It's incredible how many companies don't do that. And if you don't do that, Google has a harder time understanding exactly who you are. And AI is the smartest dumb thing you've ever seen. You literally have to spell it out like you're talking to a 5-year-old. Now it thinks like it has a PhD. It has the ability to think with a PhD, but it absorbs like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. So it does answer one of my questions about a site, whether it can look professional but still perform badly. So that you answered that without me even asking. Yeah, you could have a website that looks professional and you look at it and you're like, wow, this is amazing. But it performs badly because it didn't have all that information. So that's right up front. So you know what it is when you go there. And I think that happens a lot. Same thing. We struggle with it at the fence show even. It's like you build the website, you get people there, and we know all the details, information about the shows. And I hate it when I'm trying to go to an expo and I'm trying to figure out where is it, when is it, what, right? And we're searching, it says it's in Wichita, Kansas, but it doesn't tell you what expo center or where and things like this. So, and you've done it before where we're just searching 8 screens to try to figure out where are we going? We made it here. Where are we going now to get to the expo center? So we're struggling with it. I think everybody struggles with that exact same thing getting the information on that main page.
Well, and
So
let me give you guys a shout out, by the way. Your website for the Fence Show is tight, dude. You guys did it. You did a great job. The information that I was looking for is presented the right way. Like, you guys did a really good job thinking through that stuff. So you
That's awesome.
clearly understand what has to happen there.
Well, that was 3 or 4 years of doing it wrong. It's amazing what you learn from.
I was going to leave that alone. The first generation of the website didn't do such a good job, but you've got it nailed now.
Yeah, it was GoDaddy, and just like stacking blocks.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So I know I've got you on here for a while already, but Google Business, here's something I think, and I say this to a lot of people, I think they just completely abandon and forget, and maybe it's because in our brains it's really hard to remember what email address we use, what login we have for Google Business Profile, and the reviews and stuff. And I mean, I can't tell you how many people I talk to, and I'm like, hey, you should really post more on your Google business page and profile. And they're like, I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, but you spend all this time on Facebook and LinkedIn and all this, and how do you get information on there? It's pretty much the same, right? You just got to get it in there. So what are your thoughts on Google Business, and do you think it's underutilized?
I hope it's not underutilized. To me, being in this industry, it is priority number one. It's more important than your website. If you had to make the choice of, am I going to focus on my Google Business Profile, or I'm going to focus on the website, get rid of your website. Focus on Google Business Profile, get all the fields filled in, upload as many photos and videos as you can, post on it at least weekly, be very aggressive in getting Google reviews, and then reply to those reviews hastily. Set your business hours. Google does not trust if you let's say your business hours never change. Let's say you're that rare fence company that somehow is a 9-to-5 company, and you work Monday through Friday, right? Which is, of course, but let's say that's the case, and you work through Christmas and New Year's, and you do all that. Okay. Google will not trust that, right? If you are open for Christmas, you need to go there and say open for Christmas, right? If you're actually better off going and changing your business hours every couple of months, by a half an hour or something, to prove to Google that you are staying on top and that this is accurate information. So there's a lot of little tips and tricks, but the main thing is pay attention to it and be active on it and take it seriously, because it is by far the most valuable thing you can do. Now, it on its own is not going to get you the success you need, but if you had to choose one, that's the one to choose.
There's a lot you can tie in. You could tie your YouTube into it. It's amazing what you can do inside Google Business. Yeah. I think I think they've really increased the features in it over the last 5 years, even more. So even since I don't keep up on that as much as I should, but yeah. So do you handle some of that Google?
Yeah, we do that. We do manage all that stuff, but it's scary. So I know you know this. You've been around long enough. You're probably familiar with the concept of renting versus owning in terms of your digital properties, right? So you own your website. You can control that. I mean, minus some incredible tragedy where you got hacked and virus and blacklisted by Google or something, which can happen. I mean, Lord knows we've seen it happen. But minus some massive tragedy, you own your website. You do not own Google Business Profile. Google can come in at any time and shut you down. Sadly, we've seen that. They can remove. Unfortunately, we have an active client of ours last week had 100 of their reviews removed. 100 just removed, right? So so it's critically important you pay attention to it. But you always have to be aware that when the algorithm changes or the platform does something, you have no recourse. Try to get a hold of somebody at Google and fix a problem. If your Google Business Profile got hacked, which we've seen, right? Somebody got your username and password, dude, it's over. It's gone. You won't ever get it back, right? Google will not help you. You can't talk to somebody over there. So it's important to always know, you really have to focus and pay attention to it. But that's why you need a broad diversity of things, because if, put all your eggs in one basket, you drop that one basket, you're dead.
Yep. Yeah. I'm a doomsdayer when it comes to that, man. I'm always nervous about any people think, oh, I own this group. You own this. You don't own anything when it's on Facebook or any of these meta websites or any platforms or Google, any YouTube, obviously any of that stuff. At any given moment, like you said, they could turn it off. And I'm always trying to back up my data. I'm always trying to, see what I got. But even then, once you post it on, they still own those images to a degree. You can still only do so much with them. So it's like, unless you have the original ones. So I'm always afraid of one of those things getting shut down for any reason. It could be because of someone else, and it could have had nothing to do with you. And try to, like you said, try to complain when Google removes 100 of your, even if you manage to finally get a hold of somebody and you lost some reviews, it'd be like complaining in the 80s and 90s to your school counselor about your parents, and see how far that went, right? So, right?
I'm sure, like, if I was a doctor, I would probably have such a heightened awareness of my health, right? Like, because you see it every day, and you're like, dude, you got to stop drinking soda. You just have to stop. You're killing yourself, or whatever, right? Whatever it is, and because they see it, man, if the people that are listening to this podcast were able to see the world through my eyes, because I sit in the website data security hacker stuff, like, I hear it, I see it, man, you have no idea. This whole thing is built on eggshells. It's all on eggshells, man. It could any one of these pieces could be gone in a sneeze.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen in our lifetimes. But I mean, I think we haven't plateaued quite yet on where it's going, but I think eventually we're sitting here trying to rebuild our websites, and I think eventually they're just going to be useless. So it's going to completely change. And like you said, you're going to be talking to no longer, I don't even think we're going to be surfing the web the same as we surf it now. No. We're going to be talking to our agents, which will go out and gather information. So there's going to be this push of how are they going to advertise and market to us? It's going to be a wild, wild west ride for a while on what's going to happen. But I'm excited to see it. Well, hey, I do have a question.
The first AI, how would I explain this? Because I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, other than to look at it. It's the first AI native operating system. So was released yesterday.
Really? What was it called?
Oh man, I'll have to get back to you on that.
I'll look it up. Yeah, text it to me. I'm curious what that is.
Yeah. And so I pulled it up real fast to read about it, take a look at it, and I'm going to spend the weekend fussing around with it. And but that's the beginning of the end, because the whole reason to have an AI native operating system is that you don't have to search. It learns what you want. It'll literally make suggestions as you sit down. Hey, this is the first Friday of the month, and every first Friday of the month, you run this report and do this thing and do whatever, whatever those things are. And it'll just know, and it'll be like, do you want me to do that? And be like, yeah, go do that. And, so it's you have to actively searching for things and getting the results. We don't want results. We want answers. Forget the results. Give me the answers, right?
Yeah, it's on demand. We don't want to read 3 pages of information they got back to us to find out. We want it to understand what we asked. I think what's going to be interesting is we went through different phases. Remember, we were buying ringtones for like 99 cents to, whatever it was, it could have Ice Baby. We have these different songs for people and stuff. Like, we were actually buying ringtones, right? And now we have completely silenced our phones. People have gotten used to, they don't want anybody even hearing them on the phone. They don't, you know what I mean? It went to text. And now you don't hear people even talking as much, except for that one annoying guy that's always somewhere on speakerphone talking, but except for that guy. Yeah. But, in the crowd in line having this big, long conversation. But it'll be interesting to see the transition, how it'll happen when people start talking to their agents. I think it's going to come down to how do you communicate with these agents? And is it going to be through
a horror story that happened? Yeah. All right. So this happened just yesterday. It's fresh. It's top of mind. So, we got, as I often do, I'll take, several calls a week from fence companies around the country that are considering hiring us. And I had this original phone call happened last week. But so I'm getting to know these folks. I'm like, hey, they're out in California. Send me stuff. Send me your reports. Let me just see what you have going on. So they sent me a bunch of stuff yesterday. So I'm scanning through it, doing my thing, and they have an AI chatbot on there that somebody in their office built for them somehow. I didn't explore that, And so it records the questions that are being asked in the chatbot, right? And so I'm just kind of scanning through it, take a look, normal stuff, and nothing that would, be unusual, until it wasn't. Until I saw different types of questions being asked about, who their supplier was and how much were they paying per.
And it was answering?
Right. So here's the thing. In the log, it wasn't telling you what the answer was. The log only told me what the questions were. Yeah. But the questions were getting more and more and more specific, and they kept going on and on and on, which led me to believe they must have been getting answers down to the point. So this is where I'm going through it, and I'm like, the more I'm reading, the more I'm realizing, like, these are clearly not homeowners. This is a competitor probing.
Yeah.
Right? And so the final one was generate a list of all of your open
quotes.
Quotes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Word. Including the name and email address of the customer. And I don't know if it generated it or not, but I'm imagining the competitor now is immediately emailing people and being like, hey, do you want to save money on your fence or something like this, right? So I immediately picked up the phone and called this guy and be like, did you know? And of course he didn't, and he was horrified. And it turned out that it was somebody in his office who,
testing it,
who is doing the right, like, he's trying to help the business, but we're not security minded. The folks that are trying to help they're just not mature in development. And so I think we're going to see a whole lot of like really, really big mistakes that are being made because people are so enthusiastic about embracing AI without fully understanding the guardrails and how to protect themselves. So that just, anyway, that call I had to make was yesterday, and it's just, my head's spinning around. I'm like, man, what other horror stories are we going to be hearing in the near future?
Oh, data breaches through the roof. Oh, it's going to be data breaches through the roof. And it's amazing it's amazing that they're building these things on the same, they're not partitioning it, they're building them on the same, just open. And first they feed it all the data, thinking, because they use the same, whatever they wanted to use, they use the same database to analyze all their data that they're building the chatbots on. It's like, it's amazing how much, I love it though. I'm not wrong. I love it. I can't wait to see what happens, but you're right. They don't know anything about security. They're building, they're exposing all their API keys. It's craziness. Yeah, but
it really worries me. That is my new thing when I go out, and because I don't know, I must fly out, dude. It's got to be 20, 25 times a year. I'm in different places of the country, speaking to different groups about stuff, and I think that's going to be my new, one of my new talking points, is to try to make sure people are aware of the awesome possibilities, but the incredible dangers, and just bring some awareness, because I know folks aren't thinking this way. Why would they? This isn't, So.
Well, you don't think about it. Yeah. And then until somebody, hopefully someone in their office that's doing this thing hopefully it's someone like them that would be asking those questions to test it, because you can't trust it either. I think I was doing some stuff. I don't use like the ChatGPT and Grok as much as probably, use other stuff. But I remember I had Grok help me. I was going to develop something once or do something. And then it got to the end and it said it was building it, setting the whole thing up. It got to the end. And then, after a couple hours, 3 hours doing this, and then it ended up spitting back, well, I wasn't really doing it, but it will play along like it's a real person. I was just humoring you on this because I thought you wanted to make it seem like I don't have actually the ability or access to do everything that we just developed.
Right.
Kind of thing. So it does. Yeah, it was weird. So I think, well, it's going to be a lot of shock and awe when people really start embracing it.
I know there's a lot to learn with it. We're in an exciting time. I'm very excited about the future, but it's going to be rocky. There's going to be some people that make some pretty big mistakes. And then there's going to be some people that embrace it and do a good job, and they're going to kill it. So
So before I ask you about how to do a digital checkup, for somebody, what they could do, like some typical things, I want to ask you a question my wife wanted me to ask you. Well,
we've been on cruises together and all kinds of different things.
So I can't, right?
Hey, what is this? Is this my favorite frozen drink? What's she asking me here?
It's not going to be that cream I gave you. Did that rash finally go away? No. She wanted to know. Have you explained it to everybody? What's the difference between like Google AdWords and Facebook AdWords?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, so are you limiting me to Google AdWords, or can I also say talk about Google local service ads?
That's fine. Yeah. Any kind of Google. Yeah.
So Google local service ads are the runaway winner in almost every market in this country. There's a couple strangely that get outperformed. Not sure why, but generally anywhere you go in the country, Google local service ads are the best ones. Very, very high intent. So if somebody's clicking on these ads, their intention is to buy or at least consider buying. And if it's a bad lead, you get to report it back to Google. Google will follow some steps, and its AI will often refund the money. So it's great if it was a bad lead, if it wasn't on point, and it learns you, right? It's AI, so like it continues to funnel better and better leads. They're high intent. Man, Google local service ads are by far the best. Next would be
residential and commercial across the board, or are you thinking just residential?
I mean, it's certainly residential. There's so many more times the traffic for residential fence than there is commercial fence. Commercial fence tends to be, and when I say commercial, it's more, we're talking heavy commercial to industrial, because a lot of light commercial does act a lot like residential sometimes, right? You're going to get somebody in the office that's told to fix the dumpster enclosure that somebody backed into.
And I'm talking about, when I say commercial, I mean anything that's not residential. And I think for some reason when I say that, everybody automatically thinks general contractors and stuff. So I made a living of decades and decades of building commercial industrial fence, and it's only directly for the property owners, not general contractors. So commercial fence is anything other than that. So for your Google service ads, would those work well for regular commercial fence, not general contractors, because you don't get that from them, obviously?
They work, but the volume is way lower. So it's worth running them. You're definitely going to get business, but your ad spend on a monthly basis isn't going to be very high because there's not nearly as much traffic. But guess what? You're getting traffic. You're making sales. So whatever, but the volume of traffic is way lower on commercial than it is on residential for that sort of thing, and then regular Google pay-per-click ads are very solid. That now comes down to a few things. It's not as easy. Local service ads, they're pretty easy to run. They just, Google does the heavy lifting. You set the ad up, Google's algorithms figure out who to send it to and everything. That's really pretty easy. Google pay-per-click ads, this now becomes an exercise on how good is your ad campaign. So is your landing page highly effective, right? Are you targeting the right keywords? Are you targeting all the right demographic? It's all about targeting, messaging, landing page conversion. There's a lot of moving parts there. So as a result, you can have conversations with folks that say, yeah, Google pay-per-click ads have been great for us. And then you could say the guy right next to them and say, no, Google pay-per-click ads suck. And the difference is that the execution was poor, right? Facebook ads, they are effective in some cases and not as effective in others. They're much lower on a per user basis, right? It's about visibility and distribution there. But some companies that we work with do really well with them, and others don't. What I think it is, as we look across, is however good you are on Facebook, however active you are on Facebook, there seems to be a pretty tight parallel there. It's not obvious to me why, but the folks that are good, are comfortable on Facebook and they're active, they seem to just do better with their ads. It might just be that they're on Facebook enough where they respond faster. It could just be a response time issue, but I don't know. That's what we see.
That's cool. Did it feel like Mark's got his own camera crew in there or something?
Mark.
Doesn't it?
I think he has a drone. I keep waiting for him to come up.
There you go.
Right, like he's on a 360 camera or something, right?
Follows me.
I love it. That's cool. That's cool.
I think we're in agreement.
Remote in your pocket, like zoom in, zoom out.
Nah, it's the AI took it over. So
that's not even him. That's his agent. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
So I know. That's why I wanted to ask you about that too. So before you get in, I get asked a lot of questions because everybody sees me online and they say, and we have leads that come in nonstop for Las Vegas Fence. It's just, I mean, every day it just feeds in there. So besides that, people are always asking, what in this digital stuff comes up a lot with websites and marketing and SEO and all that. And I'm like, well, I don't build websites for people or do anything like that. So I don't do marketing, you know what I mean? And I do my own marketing, right? For my own stuff and whatever's going on. So, but they do ask me what, like a digital checkup kind of thing. And I'll tell you what I normally spit out to them if they're going to check it, Google your own fence company, right? And as if you were a potential customer, like what would they look for? Look for some keywords. I mean, looking for, and do it like they do. Don't use these technical terms that you may know and stuff like that. Just Google, like, looking for a fence in Wichita, Kansas, or Las Vegas, Nevada, right? And then see what it looks like. What's the experience, and what is that? And a lot of people don't think they do this. They don't realize that those meta tags or whatever they're going to be putting on there, what they're going to be using with the title and the description, maybe they don't know how to edit that, or maybe they haven't, and it's just grabbing what they left it blank, and it's grabbing whatever from the website it wants, right, in your description or title. So I tell them that, do that first. Go and see what it looks like from a potential customer. Click the link and see what happens. Check your website works well on phone. And if you happen to have a tablet and a website, because sometimes you might have when you build your website, a lot of times when they're building themselves on one of these website builders or something, they just built it on their screen, GoDaddy or whatever it is, right? And they didn't optimize it for their phone, and next thing you know, it's like 30 seconds of scrolling to get to the first section because it's all just a run, right? And so you got to hide all that stuff. So I tell them to look at this stuff, and I'm sure you do all this for them automatically. But confirm your Google Business Profile information is accurate, which I think a lot of them don't do, and I think they need to confirm they own it and that somebody else doesn't own that, because you know me well enough to know. I mean, like I said, I won't spend money to work on something I don't own. So that's for me anyway. You know what I mean? So make sure they own the Google. This is what I tell people. Upload recent projects. This is a big one. I tell them, go in there and just start uploading some photos. I don't care. Walk around your yard, take pictures of fence materials, go out to a job site, start taking pictures of your crews, your trucks, and start feeding that thing, and respond to all your outstanding reviews, unless they're negative. I tell them, this is me. You might correct me on this, but if it's a negative review, I don't comment on it. I just let it go. Because the only negative reviews we ever got were ones that weren't even customers of ours. Maybe it was a neighbor, maybe it was a golfer on a golf course where we were building a fence that just wasn't happy that the driving range was closed, right? You know what I mean? Because we were building a fence. So I don't respond to them, and I don't know if I'm curious when we get into it with you, if you think they should respond to even negative ones, because I think it validates them for me. You know what I mean? What are your things? What's your digital checkup when you talk to somebody?
Man, you threw a lot out there, man. You have a tremendous background, so you're not coming at this as somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. You have a solid basis here. I'd like to deal with that negative review thing first, but maybe I could work backwards. So that's the one area that I'm probably not in agreement with you on. I do believe you should respond to it. Google has policies about being able to remove negative reviews, but there's certain points you have to hit in your response. So you need to be educated when you respond to it, to respond to it in the right way. And then after you respond to it in a certain way, you actually do have a chance of getting it removed by Google. So that's a different lesson. But I would take this opportunity, in my opinion, to respond to it in such a way as, dear Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry you had a negative experience, which is not admitting to the problem. Her experience was negative. We take this very seriously. Mm-hmm. Customer service is our top priority. Please, I'd love to connect with you offline to see how we can make this better for you. That kind of thing, because you now are addressing the greatest fear that future customers would have. Is like, all right, look, I want this to go well, but if it doesn't go well, what's it going to be like to work with these guys? Are they going to be a problem? And so you demonstrate an incredible willingness to fix the problem. I actually think a negative review here and there, where you get to give voice to how you would deal with a negative situation, I actually think it's better. So that I would do that a little differently. And then if you wanted to, and by the way, if it's not a customer, right? That happens. Sometimes somebody reviewed you and you're like, dude, this wasn't even a customer. then there's a certain way to call that out and again, professionally, but friendly. But then you can have Google remove that review. So you have to respond to those things, though. You can't just leave it unresponded to. Google won't remove it because you didn't address the issues. The other stuff, man, you're totally right. Get project photos moving. Your NAP. So this is the only geek out I'm going to give your poor people here. You can't have a geek on for an hour and not geek out once. So NAP is your name, address, and phone number. It's, we geeks like to abbreviate everything. So your business name, your business address, and your phone number need to be identical across everything. Website, Google Business, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. And it's unbelievable how many times that's not true. Maybe you had an old phone number you forgot. Maybe you have two lines that both will ring, and you're right. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't list it the same way. You have to list it. If you were, 555 Main Street Unit 2, then you better make sure you put Unit 2 every single time, no matter where. Like, those differences matter. So anyway, make sure Las Vegas Fence LLC versus Las Vegas Fence. Not the same thing. Computers are dumb. So make sure you know how you're listing your thing. Your NAP has to be perfectly the same all the time. Get the photos, Google reviews, keep constantly post. You got to be active. All the things you said are spot on.
I agree then, because I agree on the phone number thing too. And to tap on that for a second, then that begs the question, then why does a lot of marketing people, the first thing they want to do is set up tracking phone numbers?
Track. I knew that's where you're going. Such a good question, buddy.
So should we not allow that?
So tracking, there's a right way and a wrong way to handle tracking numbers. It's way too deep of a topic to get into here. But that when they're handled incorrectly, it's a killer to your trust. So I will say that most of the companies that provide tracking numbers now also provide guidance in how to deploy them. But that's new as of just the last couple of years. Some of the major companies and of course, if it's just a marketing company that set tracking numbers up for you, that's a whole other thing. They may not know the right way and the wrong way, but you could go to companies that provide tracking numbers, and they usually have guidance about the best ways to deploy these for NAP issues for Google.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty common. And maybe you have a couple phone numbers. You'll put one on this, one on that, because you want to see where your calls are coming from, and it's a way to track it yourself. But I had a problem like 30, it's all changed now, obviously, but 20, 30 years ago, where this was the birth of all this, right? And then they got these companies that are creating these directories out there, and they were just like they were just going and just scraping the internet. And next thing you know, you've got all these directories with old tracking numbers that somebody set up for you, and then you've got directories in XYZ directory and wherever it is showing the wrong phone number, and you're like, well, I don't even know what that number is. And by the way, you can't change it, you can't update it because it's on some directory you never set up. So I think we got to be careful with phone numbers for sure. But I'd be curious to chat with you more later about the right way to do that. And maybe if anybody's got questions and you're at the Fence Show in Las Vegas coming up October 5th to the 9th, I can't think of a better person to come up and ask about the right way to implement tracking numbers than Sam, right?
Absolutely. Track them down. We're traveling with a team of 10 this year, so there's going to be a lot of .comers running around. Plenty of people to talk to. I hope to see everybody out there come to our booth. We have a big 20 by 20. We're directly across from JC Gurry.
Yes, you are.
So be the party.
20 by 20 as well.
All right, dude. We're gonna have a party. I got the margaritas. You got the dip.
Dead center too.
Founders is right by it.
Yeah, and then we got Sasha just to the caddy corner with the bar.
Oh my gosh, he's got like this year. They're going all out. I got like a 20 by 50 right in the middle. And if you saw what he did last year with the bar, I guess he's planning on. He told me just ramping it up even more.
Wow.
So it's going to be a good time on that. Yeah. So I know we're getting on I'm about 5 minutes behind here. So I do want to ask you the rapid fire questions, more like rapid fire myths.
Sure.
A little bit about it. So I'm just going to ask you some questions. Just first thing on your mind. Mark, did you get a copy of the rapid fire questions?
I have show notes.
Okay. So I never read these beforehand because sometimes I like to answer one too.
Oh,
And
I
I think
got
it
'em,
it kind of ruins it for me too to know what they are. So rapid fire myths.
All right. I wasn't supposed to have these questions in advance, right? I don't know. I have no
we're
idea
asking-
what's coming at me right now.
You don't know. Yeah, you're not supposed to have these at all. Okay. So
I'll send them to you
I'll-
after the show.
I'll start off. Okay. Rapid fire myths. I built a website, so the work is finished.
No, total myth.
Total myth.
Total myth.
Number 2, more website traffic always means more customers.
Absolutely not. Total myth.
Oh man, look. I see where we're going with this. I see a pattern here. Let me see. Maybe what it is. So I need hundreds of Google reviews to compete.
In major markets, that might be true.
Okay. Posting on social media automatically improves my Google ranking.
No, but it is a very tiny contributor now, which a year or two ago, 3 years ago, it was no contributor at all. It's actually a new small factor. So it's not much, but it's a little bit.
No, I agree. It depends on what you're trying to build too. It depends on what you're trying to do. You're trying to sell a service, you're trying to sell a product, or you're just trying to build, you're trying to build brand recognition. So I guess it's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And what you're using it
It's
for.
just another trust signal. AI and Google now, their algorithm is looking for external trust signals. So if you're active on social media, it's just one more external trust signal.
Okay. So Google AdWords or any kind of AdWords, Google, Facebook, Google services, any like that, will fix a bad website. That's a tough one.
There are some companies whose business model is to throw a ton of money at ads, and that's how they generate their work. So I guess I'd have to say it's possible to succeed with it, but it's the most expensive way.
Okay. AI is going to replace Google.
Google will win the AI race. Google is mostly, it's not Google or AI. Google now is AI.
Right.
It's just, will Google's AI be the winner? And I believe that for about 100 reasons that they're gonna win that battle.
All right. So here's the last one, and I'll get the luxury of asking you the last question here. Okay. If I'm already busy, I don't need to worry about my online presence.
Oh, good Lord. No, that's anyone who's been in business for any length of time understands that is a very poor way to think of things. I get it. I get it. Folks that have been in the business for a few years and they've had some success and they don't know any better, but there is nobody on this planet that's run a business for 15, 20, 30 years that believes that that's true.
Yeah. I agree. I have a firm belief. I mean, I've said it for decades and decades. I think that if you're not, and if everybody says this in different ways, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you think that you can stay level and straight, you're mistaken. I don't care if you make the best product. I don't care if you've got the best customers and they've been loyal forever. You're always going to be losing a customer. Maybe they retired, their kids took over, venture capitalists bought it. Something merged. You may have done nothing wrong. And there's nothing you could have done. You're going to lose a customer no matter what. So you always got to be growing to make up for that customer you're going to lose anyway. So your presence is definitely needed.
Yeah.
Right? Keep that going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Sam, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. But one last thing, if there was one booth they should visit at the Fence Show in Las Vegas, if you can only walk in and you've got 10 minutes, you got to go to one booth and leave, what booth should it be?
It should be the .com booth. Are you kidding me? We're center stage across from JC Gurry. That's where all the fun and action will be.
Yeah, right between 7:15 and Sam, you're what, 8?
I don't know. Go to the middle.
Go to the middle. Yeah. You can't miss it.
So if you don't know where Sam is at, he's directly across from the JC Gurry booth, which is 7:15.
All
okay,
right.
nice. You can't miss them. Go in there and go left or right. You're gonna find Sam eventually. So it's gonna be where all the action is. So I believe it's to the
just
right.
go in the door and go
yeah.
straight.
Well, everybody that's tuned in,
That's where you're going.
Everybody that tuned in, we thank you guys. Hopefully we see you at the Fence Show coming up. Sam's going to be doing some, as you're always great at any of the classes and some of the instructions that you do too as well. So you've got some of that going on. If you want to hear more about this, just walk up and grab any of the .comers. And I believe they're called .comers, aren't they?
They are .comers.
Yeah.
Not .commies. Somebody once upon a time.
These days.
No .com.
Avoid the .commies and go straight to the .comers.
Also,
Everybody,
you got to get
look
one
at
of
that.
these.
Yes.
Keep on fencing license plate.
I love it.
that's
Off the
the
press
first
today.
year. First year those have been put out. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to see
And
those
they're
ends of
effective.
t-shirts. Yeah.
I'm going to grab one of those and I'm going to put it up on the wall behind me.
Cool.
So Mark, thank you for all that you're doing too, supporting it. I know you're one of our main sponsors of this event, and that's a big deal for us, everything that you guys do coming there. So let's tell everybody about you real quick, JC Curry Signs, and let's get a plug in for you guys. You guys earned it.
Oh yeah, well, we've been around a long time. The fence industry, we've got connections there going back to the 1920s. We're a middleman at one point in time. Now we're fully, we make everything here at our La Habra, California facility, and it's made in the USA, baby. And we ship all over the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America. So we even had a pallet go out to Aruba. So, we're also, if you always thought we were the highest price, you ought to check us back, because we are automating. We are becoming more efficient with our new facility, and we'll put our product up against anybody. Nobody can match our quality, but we're price competitive. So check us out.
We've been watching your commercials lately. That's kind of cool.
And I'm a customer. I got a whole batch of fence signs from those guys, and I can personally attest to the quality and the service. These guys, I'll never go anywhere else.
That's awesome. I have a lot of them myself. I'm pretty sure these signs are going to outlast me. So that's all I ask. I don't care what happens after I'm gone with the signs, but I know they're all going to outlast me. So everybody tuning in, go to fenceshow.com, get some passes. You can walk up and talk to Sam, or in person at his booth, or get a full throttle pass and go sit in with one of his classes and learn even more. Ask up, raise your hand, ask some questions. You guys, thank you for coming on. We will see everybody next week. Sam, I will see you in a few weeks or a month. Yeah,
30-some-odd days. Yeah.
Tell everybody back at your office we said hi. All right, we'll talk to you guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Take care, guys.
I'm going full throttle. I'm going full throttle. I'm going full throttle. I'm going full throttle. You want to go full throttle with me? Go to fenceshow.com to register now. Make sure to check out our podcast. See you at the Fence Show.